Hello YouTube, today we're playing the Modern Challenge. We've won the die roll. We're probably going to go first. Okay, so because this has Etch Champion, because it has a 1-drop, 0-drop, and an Arcbound Ravager, we're going to keep this hand. It's not the best hand, but Etch Champion usually wins us games. If this isn't a combo deck, we're good. If it is a combo deck, we're sad. But if it's like Jund, we're happy. So this will be round 1 of the Modern Challenge. So our opponent's still thinking about mulliganing. Just checking if it's recording. So we'll go turn 1, Nexus, Thopter, Vault Scourge. Turn 2, Nexus, Ravager. And in the next 2 turns, or 3 turns, no, next 2 turns we want to draw another land, or an Opal, or a Springleaf Drum, so we can drop Etch Champion. And we will, of course, threaten the Infect Kill. Our opponent seems to be taking a long time to figure this out. This is my first time playing the challenge. So I've never really been able to wake up early enough to do it in the past, but I set an alarm and I was like, I gotta do it, and went to sleep a little early. So now here I am, ready to play the Modern Challenge. So I just wait for my opponent. What he might be doing is like maybe looking up my tournament finishes, and then figuring out like, oh, if it's Affinity, because you might think no, it's Affinity in that case. So if, yeah, you know, he might be figuring out like, hey, is my hand actually good against Affinity? And he's not sure. It also might just be that he's calculating odds, so he might be like Storm, or he might be ad nauseum or something, calculating the odds and how likely it is that he can win based on what's in his hand and what he has to draw. Or maybe he's just some random guy who spent 25 tickets to play in the Modern Challenge and had no business doing so. Okay, here we go. There we go. There's our opener. Go for it, man. He just seems to be taking a while to do everything. Our opponent also might just be recording, so they're like talking to their viewers maybe about what they're planning to do to beat me, and in the meantime, they're letting time tick away on the clock. Okay, Windswept Heath. Yes. Crack Heath. Yes. Looks like Bogles. Yep, Bogles it is. So time doesn't really matter. Cool. So we will swing in with a Vault Scourge. We might try and go all in on Infect next turn. Or we can just drop an Etch Champion and block with it a lot. So yeah, Vault Scourge is one of the best cards in the matchup because Bogles can't really race you if you're gaining that same amount of life every turn. Vault Scourge, swinging into you. Come on, buddy. Maybe a part of it is that he hopes I concede to taking forever, but it's a modern challenge, so it's not going to happen. Alright, you took a damage and I gained a life. Thicket. Armor. Not good. Probably one of the best enchantments in the deck. Another Boggle. Fine with me. If he swings... Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, so Cranial Plating is probably one of the best draws I could have had right there. Because now I can start racing with Vault Scourge. So I'm going to go ahead and swing for 5. And then gain 5. So I can not only hold back my other guys here for defense, even though I'm probably not going to block with them, but I can also just swing in with Vault Scourge and basically not be scared of my opponent now on the crackback. So yeah, Vault Scourge plus life, Vault Scourge plus any sort of pump to its power equals win game. And my opponent's only bet is getting reach on the Boggle here, or this Boggle to block with. Or, as you can see here, now he's racing me the same way with Daybreak Hornet. So at this point, neither of us... Oh, I could actually stop his life gain with blocking with Ornithopter and sacrificing it, but you know. Let's go Overseer. Yeah, Overseer, come on, let it resolve. And then I'll probably just animate a Nexus and swing with Vault Scourge. So Bogles doesn't usually run removal in their main 60. So Overseer probably lives, and then next turn we're going to start swinging in for a lot. We can even go for the Infect kill, I believe, next turn. If that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so that's exactly lethal with Infect next turn. If our opponent does not have reach. And of course we can also next turn say if they get reach and start holding it back to block or something like that. We can just play Etch Champion and start making that bigger. First strike, lifelink, vigilance. Cool. So we're up a life now. Yeah, Daybreak Hornet's also probably one of the best cards for them. And the next best card is whatever gives their Boggle reach and maybe trample. Oh, a second one. That's not good. So in this case, I'm actually going to sacrifice Ornithopter to it to block so he doesn't gain the life because he doesn't have trample. Turn off auto yields. Okay, so Ravager, ready to sack. Sacrifice. Memnite. So if our opponent had a path to exile, he would have pathed Overseer. But our opponent might just be trying to bait us into the infect kill, so I might just go for it next turn rather than this turn. I'll just play as champion, play it safe. Memnite Resolve. Do you have a counterspell? Disrupting Shoal, Ancestral Visions. Or something, I don't know. Okay. So this will be a 7-2. I don't need 4 more damage. 4 more damage. Interesting. So if I animate both the Nexi, this will become an 8-1. Then I pump the team, it becomes a 9-2, and then I sacrifice Ravager to it, becomes an 11-2. So that's exactly lethal if I go for it now. So, or I can just play it safe, play the Etched Champion. I can also hold back Memnite to block. But the thing is, if my opponent is able to give the Boggle reach or trample next turn, it's going to suck a lot. So I'm going to try and go for the kill here. And I think my opponent would have used the Path to Exile earlier if they had one. And what they're probably hoping to do is instead, you know, just like threaten Path, but also just hold up Canopy Forest. So declare attackers. Do you block? No. Sack Ravager. So it goes down to 8 and then +3, so it's 11, right? Okay, yeah. Put it on the Vault Scourge. So Path hurts a lot. But they probably don't have Path. Especially in the main board. Okay. Game 2. So we want Whip Flares. We like Edge Champion. And we like Thoughtseize because they have Stony Silence. So we don't like Bomat Courier because they're going to have blockers for it. We don't like having the 1 Memnite, and we don't like the Welding Jar. So this looks like a good 60. We're going second. We could also like shave a land, but there's not much of a need to. I've liked Blood Moon in the past. Bitter Blossom could help, but you know they get trampled pretty quickly, so Bitter Blossom isn't actually that good. They just didn't happen to have the Rancor here. So that's game 1 in our pocket. We just need to win game 2 or game 3. And that's the hard part, is winning game 2 and 3. So Thoughtseize is for Kataki and Stony Silence. Whip Flare is for killing their team. Ooh, okay, so this, wow, tempting. It's already a mold of 6 though. Would I keep this 6? I think I would, actually. I have to draw land the next 2 turns. So, and I have a Vault Scourge. I have literally the same opener I had last turn, except like 1 less land in place of Whip Flare. So I can actually keep this. So I literally just need a land for my next draw. And if it's a colored land, it's better. Spider Umbra. Reach. So that's what we don't like. First strike. That's especially what we don't like. So as soon as they get Vigilance, we're probably going to lose. Just keep in mind, we went second this game. So, like, if we lose this, I'm not angry or, you know, disappointed or anything. Like, it's normal for this to happen because we're going second. All right, so Springleaf Drum is like one of the worst draws for us. We can't even Whip Flare our opponent now, but we can play Overseer next turn and then Ravager. Alright, so we'll swing with the Mem Knight here because there's no point not to. We do want to be gaining life with Vault Scourge. Hopefully it's not a Daybreak Coronet right now, or any sort of life gain enchantment. It's going to suck. Cartouche. That's actually a really good card. Just because, like, well, not really against us, although now we can't swing with Mem Knight, but it's really good because it if I had like an edict effect, obviously this is better against Jund with Liliana of the Veil, but basically this warrior token requires removal before you edict to like make our opponent sacrifice something. Okay, so Mox Opal, really good draw. Now I can actually play Edge Champion, which I want to do because our opponent does not have Trample and would have played out a Trample effect if they had it. So Edge Champion is just a freebie blocker right now. It's nice that my opponent's losing a lot of life from the Horizon Canopies, so they might just like sack the canopy right there. Yeah, fair. They need Trample now, or some sort of lifelink effect to bring this game back into their favor. As of right now, I have, you know, an invincible blocker basically. So they have to either give the Gladecover Scout protection from creatures, or it already has Reach. So like all they have to do is hold it back. So Vigilance is good, Reach is good. Oh, they already have it in like lifelink or Trample. They have a lot of options, but I think their mana base is hurting them a lot right now. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So I have like 7 artifacts on the board. So if I can get a land, drop Overseer and Arcbound, I might just be able to win this next turn with like a pump the team, sack everything to either Vault Scourge or Inkmoth Nexus next turn. I don't know, our opponent seems to be taking a long time to make these their decisions, which might mean we can win through the clock as well, even if we lose this game. Yep, are you going to attack? I would not attack if I were you. Yeah, alright, land. So we're going to go Ravager first, and then Overseer. Now here, I'm going to swing with the Edge Champion. That's because I'm going to block with the Mem Knight no matter what if my opponent attacks, and then sack it to Ravager. So I kind of want to get that damage in because our opponent's so close to dying, and because our opponent doesn't have any life gain, trample, anything like that. So we don't need a blocker that's going to survive, like with Edge Champion. So we're actually happy attacking here. Obviously, if our opponent top decks a Daybreak Coronet, we're not happy. And I think that would be close to lethal. Because they'd get plus... Yeah, they'd be exactly lethal unless I, you know, put the Ornithopter there to block. Maybe our opponent's gonna... What's our opponent doing? Disenchant. Sure. Yeah, I'll put it on the Edge Champion. Good play, actually. That's smart. I figured there was something in their hand, like some sort of removal spell, because it seems like they kept a bad hand. Maybe you just always keep a hand with a Boggle, and you always keep a hand with, say, like Ethereal Armor and Spider Umbra in it of all. Yeah, like. Yep. If they attack and it's not lethal, I'm not gonna block with the Mem Knight. I don't know, I think you disenchant the Overseer. Maybe they have another removal spell though. Take more damage. Yup. Daybreak Hornet. Alright, that's what we didn't want. That's why they disenchanted it. That's smart. Okay. First strike, lifelink, reach, vigilance. Alright, so we're going to have to block with the Memnite. Because it's now the worst creature we have on the board. Unfortunately, our opponent has reach, so only card we can really get past with right now is Etched Champion, but now we have to block with Etched Champion to not lose a creature a turn. Okay, second Etched Champion is actually super important, because that means we can start swinging in and also blocking. So we have to get our Etched Champions. This is kind of funny. We have to get our Etched Champions bigger than our opponent's Glade Clever Scout here. And at some point, if they're both at the same time, like if they both say, so this is a 10-10 right now. If these are both, if this becomes a 5-5 next turn, a 4-4, that's 9. So in 2 turns, we're going to have them big enough to, oh, well, shit. Got the Stony. All right. Never mind. Kind of just dirtle until my opponent gets protection from creatures. But they're way lower on the clock. I have literally 11 more minutes than they do. So I win the dirtle game, and there's still going to be a game 3. So my opponent needs to finish this pretty soon. Cartouche. Doesn't do much. So my opponent needs Trample. Yeah, they don't even want to attack. I think I can Whip Flare here. So I'm actually going to swing with like the Etched Champion. Because if our opponent's just not attacking, then that's fine. I can keep one Etched Champion open. So I can actually sort of kind of maybe still grind them out through life if they're not going to attack like this. They really should be if they have vigilance. I don't understand. Yeah, they pretty much just need either Trample or protection from creatures. So Rancor is a good draw, probably their best draw. And their second best draw, well, no, actually, no, their best draw is the protection from creatures, 2-mana enchantment. It's like +1/+1 protection from creatures. That'd make the Glade Cover Scout a 13/13, and they would have protection. And I couldn't block, and I would lose instantly. Rancor is a close second. I can still block, but I'd pretty much just die within a few turns. It'd be an actual clock on me. Right now, the clock is nothing. Like, we're both dirtling right now. We both can't do anything to the other. So we kind of have to wait and see. But our opponent is wasting a lot of time right now. Just a lot. So it might still end up being in my favor. Just because, I mean, you just look at the clock. My clock compared to our opponent's clock. It's pretty bad. Oh, okay. So they just have bad connection. Okay, so they just disconnected. Alright, well, sideboard stuff. I don't know, there's 2 rips, like 2 Bitter Blossoms instead of like a Galvanic Blast for the second Bitter Blossom, 2 Moons, 2 Grids, 2 Grudges, and then I took out a Jar, 3 Couriers, and a Memnite for, what was it? The 4th Champion, I can't remember off the top of my head, wait. The 4th Champion, 2 Whip Flares, there's Champion 4, 2 Whip Flares, and 2 more cards. Whoops, Thought Seizes. Yeah, to get rid of Stony Silence and Kataki. Alright, so our opponent lost connection. We'd have to wait 10 minutes, basically, or we'd wait for them to reconnect. To be honest, I think at this point, we're favored to win because our opponent just hasn't been doing anything. Has so little time on the clock that even if we went to a game 3, it's probably going to be in my favor unless I horribly stumble and they have like the God Hand, and that's with me going first and them going second. So even though Stony Silence is now a factor and is probably going to be a factor next game, I don't think it matters. Unfortunately, it's a feel bad way to win, but it is still a win. Of course, we'll always wait. Give the opponent a chance to come back. And I will, I think, try and edit this video down if the opponent doesn't reconnect. So, blocking with Glade Cover Scout. Blocking Etch Champion. Do you do it? Oh, he's back. Our opponent has returned. The prodigal son has returned. 5 minutes, 25 seconds on the clock. Do you block? That is my question. Waiting for the block. There we go. All right. Now it's our opponent's turn. Do you have trample? Do you have protection from creatures? If you do, you win. If you don't, you don't win. Oh shit. Flying? First strike. Oh boy. All right. So now we can't. That's another way to win. So we have to block with. Let's go with Ornithopter first, because it's like our worst card, our worst creature. Aspire of Industry. Okay, so we're gonna attack with Etch Champions, both of them. We will block with the Nexus next turn. We're gonna animate a Nexus and block with it. Okay, protection from creature. Doesn't matter. They won. So let them attack. But with the time on the clock that's left over, I don't really know what's going to happen, to be honest. But we'll just play it out. See what's up. Alright, my turn again. My turn to go first. Nothing I really want to change. I like what I have. Recipes is bad. Grid is bad. Yep. Okay, so this is Stone Dead to Stony Silence, but if they don't Stony Silence, we win. So we'll keep it. It's greedy, but we'll keep it. Because you don't really... You just have to hope they don't have it, basically, when you're playing Affinity. If they have it, they have it. If they don't have it, they don't have it. So, yeah. Looking fine right now. We can do double Overseer, so we can go even deeper into the if you have it, you have it. Oh no, I'll actually keep back the Ornithopter. Alright, if Stony, I lose. If no Stony, I not lose. Stony? Yep. So... I'll just go ahead and swing for 2. So yeah, we kept a hand that was dead to Stony, but it's kind of how you have to do it. So that trample is actually really good for our opponent right now. That's super good for our opponent. Oh boy. So that's a really quick clock. It means we might lose this round. So we'll just see what happens. But it looks like our opponent's going to win this if we don't get the Etch Champion out anytime soon. So we're going to swing with Overseers. Daybreak Cornet looks like lethal. That looks like our opponent wins here. I don't think we have an out anymore. Yep, they had Stony, so that's fair. This is why Affinity's, you know, has its own problems. That is actually exactly for our opponent. So we'll just block and see what happens. Okay, so game one was a loss.